Today, Mr. Boom shared with us 5 spoilers from episode 78 at once. In these leaked footage, you could notice a lot of interesting details, such as the return of Speakerman Titan or a scientist named Kleiner, who is already imitating Skibidi Scientist. This and much more you will learn in today's video. Do not forget to put a like. Well, and we begin. The first spoiler with Kleiner, as it seemed to me the most interesting of all. If anyone suddenly does not know, just in case I will clarify. Kleiner is the second scientist who was shown in the series. We first saw him in part 2 of episode 68 when the infiltration squad was retreating from the repair shop. He was only able to kill Big Cameraman in a blue shirt, after which we saw him a couple times in the first part of episode 72 and in episode 74, and he's improved a lot since then. For example, instead of claws, he now has tentacles like the original Skibidi the Scientist, which he uses to move around. Also, he now has armor on the front of the toilet bowl that can partially protect him from enemy shots. A claw appears on top of the drain, roughly similar to the claw Skibidi the Scientist had when he appeared in episodes 30 and 32. It will most likely be used to hold the small Astro toilets so that the Skibidi parasites can infect and control them, just as they have already done with the Alliance agents. Also visible to the right and left of the head are 2 devices that are most likely lasers or other weapons, and on the sides of the drain barrel are some bayonets that are most likely needed for close combat to stab enemies. To summarize, we can safely say that Kleiner has adopted the character of Skibidi the Scientist, because 90% of the weapons are very similar. Most likely, Kleiner shows his loyalty to Skibidi the Scientist by doing this, as he has taught him a lot. To Kleiner's right, another Skibidi toilet is seen looking at us and smiling. As such, he has no armament and is most likely a regular sidekick. To the left of Kleiner, we can see a laboratory and various equipment, and below him we can see one of the scientist's cameramen and another Skibidi toilet, who looks something like the toilet from the beginning of the first part of the game. Now let's move on to the next merged shot. In the next spoiler, we see the scientist's triple cameraman, as well as 2 armed cameramen flanked by him, while we watch them on behalf of the big cameraman. At first, I thought it was strange that the regular cameraman looked bigger than the scientist, but then I came to the conclusion that Dafuk decided to sort the cameramen by size in the same way as the toilet Skibidi, specifically into regular, medium, large, and giant. By the way, if you look closely, you'll notice that the scientist cameraman's arms have been replaced, as they're not covered by a shirt, or it's just such a design. The scene itself is most likely seen on behalf of Cameraman with Laser, who first appeared in the first part of episode 70, and he shows the bark because they managed to fight off someone, for example, a small squad of Astro toilets. All in all, there's not much more for me to say about this spoiler, so you and I move on. In the next spoiler, we see one of the survivors frying a steak in a pan. However, it doesn't have any relation to the series, as Dafuk wrote that this poster is some kind of shield poster that was most likely created to troll Steak, the YouTuber who got all these spoilers. In the next leaked footage, we are most likely shown Astro Mutant, as otherwise it's unclear to me how he managed to grab the man he's holding. Most likely this person will either die or be captured as a hostage, but it's too hard to judge from the image alone, so you too can write your guesses in the comments. Finally, the last spoiler shows Speakerman, who is apparently very angry. We'll come back to him at the end of the analysis, so be sure to watch the video to the end so you don't miss anything important. All these spoilers are very important for the series because through them we can find interesting details, as well as hidden text. Unfortunately, I didn't find any hidden text on these spoilers, but there were a lot of details. For example, on this frame, in addition to the above mentioned, you could see an exact copy of the location from the 50th episode. And it's not strange, because the frame was made from the cameraman base. And as we can see, in the 78th episode, the first-person frame will be from several cameramen, because here the frame is from a big cameraman, and here from a regular cameraman, because it can be seen by the height of the agent and the scientist. And you've probably already noticed that this shot is a continuation of this one, which means that the Skibidi scientist is on the cameraman base. Also, my theory is supported by this cameraman scientist here, who also works in the lab. As we can see, Kleiner has been given all the technology of the Cameramen, so soon we will see a joint project of the three Cameraman scientist and Kleiner. Also, all of this is backed up by this scene where Skibidi says that the Cameraman base now belongs to them too. But you know what the weirdest thing about that image was? Yes. It showed a regular Astro toilet that eats humans. And I'm not even talking about its logo right now, which resembles a paw or a dog's footprint. It's hardly one of the Juggernaut's sons, since it's without the classic family mask. I thought, you know what was weird? The background. Yes, the background, because the background was the same color in the previous shots. I think that Astro toilet snuck into the Cameraman base and ate a man. In fact, this may be true because some people are currently hiding on various bases, and in addition, in the additional scenes of Season 25, we clearly saw that the survivors have already settled on the Cameraman base. I'm not talking about the alleged troll plum. Yes, it showed one of the survivors grilling a steak on a griddle, making a reference to a steak streamer, but still knowing Boom, it can't be ruled out that this shot won't be in episode 78. But still, I don't recall such a location in Skibidi Toilet, and besides, this is the first time I've seen this character. If he looks like someone else, be sure to post it in the comments. Now let's talk about the last shot. Who didn't know? I'll tell you that in episode 78 will be the long-awaited return of Speakerman, as Boom himself told about it in an interview with Steak. The return of Speakerman means the return of the very agent who helped Lucky Cameraman rise, the return of Speakerman, and most importantly, the return of the improved Titan Speakerman. Most likely it is him in this shot, because the last time we saw him on the base, as we see he was even then ready to fight even in that condition. Improved Titan Speakerman. Also, we should see the improved Speaker Woman, which we haven't seen since episode 70, when she helped in the destruction of Skibidi Scientist. In general, Speakerman is a rather forgotten character, who appeared only 3 times in the series, and it would be strange if Dafook just forgot about this character, so I think she will definitely appear in Speakerman Armada. We should also be shown improved Big Speakerman, who we haven't seen since episode 67, when one of them gave his life for Plunger Man. They most likely got long-range guns like armored cars and armored vehicles that the Cameraman already have. In turn, they could share their technology. They should also add jetpacks, which absolutely every agent now has, allowing them to move faster on the terrain, while their weaponry consists of firearms such as shotguns or acid cannons, which are now most effective against Astro toilets, as they are not familiar with this type of weaponry, because acid is an Earth resource, while Astro toilets are an alien race. In addition to this, they can improve their air and ground transportation. Of air transportation, they have the Speakerman helicopters, which were prominently featured in episode 63 when catching up with G-Man along with the Titans, and the Speakerman plane, which brought in the Speakerman in episode 61. It's likely that the Speaker helicopters, like the camera helicopters, will have rocket launchers attached to them, allowing them to counter small and medium-sized Astro toilets, while the Speaker plane could become a bomber and suddenly drop bombs on Astro toilets, just like the Skibidi bomber from episode 62. Also, we should be shown improved Speaker spiders, which we haven't seen since episode 59. Most likely, they will be equipped with machine guns that will shoot down Astro toilets so that they will be killed by Speakerman ground forces, while their main speaker may become something like a mini nuke, from which a large charge will fly out, causing a lot of damage, as well as they will have added armor so that they do not die immediately after the first shot from the enemy. As for the appearance of this armada, I believe it should appear in the next 2 episodes. And that's all. In the next video, we will analyze all the questions that Boom answered, as well as learn the answer to my question, which I asked him recently. I'm a super cameraman, and we'll see you soon. Bye.